cover whatever questions you have. Okay, so the class session is starting right now. Please keep your cameras turned on during class session, and I'm going to walk you through our classroom, okay? So as you notice, we start class on time. So everything you do needs to be punctual in this course. If anything is not punctual at any time, any point in time, we will of course remove you from this course, as you already know. So the classroom that we've created is called the Naija Pro Pulse classroom. In here, we have all our sessions. So we're going to populate these sessions. As you know, it's going to be 6 sessions. So we will populate them here. But we have our first session that we're starting today. Now, you guys have all been invited. You need to go into this classroom. Okay, you need to go into this classroom. Otherwise, you cannot have access to, to be able to, to have access to the classroom. So you have to join this classroom. I'm going to give you the link. Join in now before we get started. Okay, so that's the first thing. So let me get you the link to join into this classroom. I'm going to post it on the chat right now. Can everyone make sure you're in here? The link is on the chat. Click there. For those of you who actually are now part of this course, you have been invited specifically to join us in. Please keep your mics switched off unless you have any questions. Samuel, you're going to have to keep your mic switched off, please. Just for now. Until when you guys have questions, of course, you guys feel free to turn it on. So please keep your cameras turned on. Favor, please turn on your camera. Samuel and Amos, keep your cameras turned on during the lesson. This is compulsory for the whole session. Okay, so I've just sent you guys the link to this Google Classroom, and I've also given you the code, so please join in. Now, once you join into the classroom, there will be the classwork, like I said, and then your assignment for each lesson will be posted here. You must complete assignment in due time. There usually is 2 parts in your assignment. One assignment is usually an online quiz just to see if you understood the programming concepts. And the second assignment is usually going to be based on overall sort of your completion of this software app that we're going to develop. Okay, so you have to complete it according to what we're doing in the lesson. All right, so I think we can get started. So let's get started on this Naija Pro Pulse app. So what do we do first? First, we're going to go to Replit. Replit is something that we've mentioned to you to sign yourself up on. It's a free online compiler. It's the #1 online compiler in the world. It's established in North America. And if you guys, I would advise everyone, actually it's not an advice, it's compulsory. You need to go and you need to sign up with Replit, okay? On your LinkedIn, you need to go and follow their page. They always have competitions launched. They always have challenges launched. So if you're a person who's really into software and you started getting interest in software development, then you have to go and sign up with them. So I'll give you more information about them, getting them on your LinkedIn, and make sure everyone in this classroom has a LinkedIn profile, because after every lesson, you have to post a learning experience, reflection, and you need to tag us in that. So you need to have a professional LinkedIn. We'll come to that later on. Now, once you're on Replit, you've already started off. What are we going to do here? First, we need to create a file, okay? It's really important. So we can't create a file by clicking create. We used to do that before, but now we have to use the agent. So we're going to use the AI to create a blank file. We're going to code from scratch. For if you've never coded before, now you're going to learn. So what you'll do, let me zoom in, is you start by putting your prompt, okay? What is the prompt? You're going to say create, okay, a blank, okay, this is important, Java Swing file called main.java. So this is the name. You just have to call it main because in Replit or on Replit, it's just known for these files to run from main. So called main.java that has all font configurations. This is very important because I've noticed that when you create a Java file, because you're using Java programming language. Okay, so let's get back to that. This app that you're going to create, this Naija Pro Pulse, the digital Owambe of Nigerian talent, is a reflection, not exactly LinkedIn, you're doing your own version, never been done before. So you're going to be doing it. It's a reflection version of how LinkedIn works, where young professionals can come and put in their profile of their job, their skill set, and then people who are looking to hire these professionals can come and look and find them. And I'm going to explain what makes this app different from a typical job searching app, right? So let's continue. So you have to say that all font configurations are installed. You also have to say I'm going to teach you guys how to use SQL. I was second thinking about this and seeing if I should teach you SQL, but I feel like it will be very useful because that's really what SQL is, structured query language. It has to do with the database, just like I'll talk more about that, but just say the SQL library needs to be installed and this program needs to be displayed properly on the VNC. This is really important. I'll talk about VNC. It's a place where you see your app and console when tested and run. Okay, so this is a very important query to get you started. Now, I would have liked to give you guys a program link to just click on and start, but it doesn't work that way. I think it's better if you start it from scratch. So once you're done, send it to the AI agent on Replit. Remember, we are using Replit. Now, Replit has recently paired up with a company called Revenue Cat. Revenue Cat is like Microsoft App Store. It's like Samsung Galaxy App Store. It's like Google App Store. It's where you can create your app on Replit and you can easily just post and publish it on Revenue Cat for sale. So when I mean sale, it's on subscription. That means your app would be subscribed. People to use it will have to pay a subscription fee, and then you're going to get some amount of money, and Revenue Cat's going to get some amount of money. So I'm just telling you this because by the time we get to the stage where you will need to finish off and polish your app and you want to publish it, then this is really what happens. Now, you can see that the agent is working, right? So I've just sent the prompt. This is what we call AI prompt engineering. I'm prompting the AI agent. This is called Agentic AI Agent 4 of Replit. And now you guys have to click here. Be careful because you should know where to click. So I clicked in the corner, the top right corner. Now you also have to click this control panel right here. And you will notice there's something called the file tree. You got to click the file tree and you have to wait for the agent to finish working. The agent is still working right now. Okay, so wait for it to finish working. Once the agent is done working, it's going to create your file here called main.java, as you've already said. So we're going to go do something else while the agent works. It usually doesn't take too long to, to set up your profile and set up your program. So about 1 or 2 minutes. So we just have to leave it to work. So I'm going to leave it to work and let's get back into what we're doing today. Okay, so as you guys know, there are 4 things that you're going to learn in this course. First of all, you're going to be developing an app, but you're also going to learn AI prompt engineering. You're going to learn Java programming using the Swing library, which is what we call like the Java FX, the one that creates all the graphics and stuff. You're also going to be learning how to create content because you need content for your work, so for your app. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we need to set up this app. How is it going to look like? Okay, so what is this app? It's a job app, right? We're going to pick the main cities of Nigeria. Obviously, there are many big cities in Nigeria, but what are the main ones? We have Lagos, we have Abuja, we have Port Harcourt, we have Kano. For now, I think I'm just going to go with this 4. But then if you want to populate and add more cities, then go ahead and do so. Now, I want you to think something. Let's do a little structure here. So we have like this home screen. We're probably going to have like a banner, like around here somewhere, a banner. And maybe in the banner, we're going to have like about us and some other information profile. Then we're going to have, before we do this Lagos part, like right here, instead of having this going on, so I'm just going to cancel it out. Let me actually do a little cancellation. So instead of having this here, why don't we have a space here where we're going to have like a chart. So what I mean is you have a space all the way here, and then you're going to have like a bar chart and like a graph, something like that, statistics. This would show the state that has the most diverse talent. Do you know if you study biology or something in that sort? I don't know if you've come across something called the Simpsons Index. So the Simpson index, what they use in biology is to determine how biodiverse an area is, like how many different type of species you can find in an area. So in some parts of Nigeria, one area is more biodiverse than the other. We're talking about animals now. But now if we come back to us and humans and data science and what we want to do, we're going to use the same calculation so that whenever somebody logs in here, the first thing they'll do is see the state that has more diverse talent. So which state has more software engineers, more carpenters, more plumbers, more web designers, fashion designers? That's what's going to show. So that's the data science part, okay? Then at the bottom, they will have another section right here. And this is where they can have that Lagos, they can have Abuja, those menu options, they can have Port Harcourt, and then they could have the Kano and whatnot. So it's kind of like a plan. Okay, so it's going to be like a plan for all that section. And then, so what happens once they click on Lagos, and then right underneath, oh, before I go back, right underneath, I want to explain something. Here, they would have like a card, profile card of like 4 profile cards. So initially, they're going to be blank, or maybe 3, depends if we want to do 4 or 3. I feel like we can do 4 instead. And so initially, they will be for people. The people that have the profiles of people that are more popular, because whenever somebody comes to this app, they would always click on a state, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, or Kano, and they can't access any of the profiles of people there looking for jobs unless they're signed up or they're logged in, right? Either of the two. So if they're signed up, then they can log in. If they have no account, then they need to sign up. And that's where we deal with the database. So once they click on Lagos, then it will open up the Lagos platform in this app, and then they can see all the people in there. And that's where we have like the Oga hugs and connect, send me a hug, or connect with you, those like options we're gonna have. But here we're gonna have like the most trendy profiles right now. So like the people that have more clicks, that's what's always gonna show here. So that's why I put a profile card. Okay, so now that we have an idea of how this looks like, you can design it however, but this is how I'm going to start. Let's get back to the program and let's see if it's done. It's finished, by the way. So
Sorry,
you
ma'am,
notice.
your screen, ma'am.
Oh, you can't see my screen? Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh no.
We've not been seeing your screen from the beginning of the class.
Oh no. Okay, I'm going to have to do this all over again. All right, that's okay. I think it's my mistake. I thought I was sharing, but I wasn't sharing. It's my mistake. Okay. Can you guys see it now?
Yes, ma'am, we can see now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back, guys. Okay, great. I'm glad you can see it now. Sorry about the first part. So what I'll do is I'll start by like telling you what I did to get here, first of all, because this is actually done, by the way. So I think it would be a better idea for me to like get from the beginning. Okay, so I'll go back to the beginning and just give me one moment because I want to have everyone sort of seen. Okay, good. Now, what I said was when you're here at the beginning, okay, let's start from the beginning. Replit, go to Replit. If you're signed up for free, then you will see your interface looking like this, okay? The first thing you need to do is you need to start setting up your program. How do you do that? You start off by typing a prompt. So you do this, create a blank Java Swing, so blank Java Swing file, or Java Swing, let's say Java program first, file called main. You have to call it main.java because on Replit, that's like the principal thing, called main.java that has the Swing library. So the Swing, we need the SQL guys library, SQL, Swing, SQL. For now, I think this is what we need from what I'm thinking. Swing is for us to be able to put the graphics and pictures and all that stuff. SQL is for the database. So that has these libraries installed along with all font configurations. This is also very important, like I said before, when you couldn't see, installed, so that you can continue. By the way, let me click over here. So that the program can run successfully when tested on VNC and the console. Okay. without errors. Now, the reason I'm saying you should do this is because sometimes this agent, if you just say, create me a file, then a lot of the libraries are going to be absent. So when you're done with this, send it to the agent, which is what I did here, by the way. So I'm just going to delete what I have here. Since you guys didn't see it, I'll just get rid of this one. Okay. So I've deleted this file that I created, get rid of that. So again, by the way, it's still working. I didn't go anywhere. I'm still in the same place. Now you notice that your AI agent, this is called agentic AI, which is the newest one that Replit has, what's called Agent 4, okay? So you click on this top menu right here. You click on this control bar that you have over here, and then you're going to see the file tree. Click on the file tree. Right now, you can't see your file called main because it's still working. Okay, so you have to wait. It says that there's a Java module. Let me install it. Let me create it for you. It's working right now. So that's why I said leave it. Now, I wanted us to go back. I was trying to explain how we're going to set up the home. So let me start off by what I was saying. Okay, so what I was explaining was today what we're going to do is we're going to be setting up our home screen. Okay, this is important. So what I was thinking to do, because if you're a software developer or if you've never created software before you create anything, you have to know how it's going to look like. So what I was thinking was for this Naija Pro Pulse, where people can come and see talented Nigerians that are looking for jobs, both the people who are looking for jobs, that's the employers and the employees, right? Employers are the ones looking to hire. Employees are the ones kind of looking for the jobs. So I was saying that in the top here, this area, what we're going to do is we're going to have like a menu or sort of like about a banner. It depends on what you want. So you can tell the AI to give you a banner here, something Nigerian themed. And then what I was talking about right here, it's really important that we have statistics going on. So what I talk about statistics, I'm talking about like bar graphs, something that's going to show some sort of like statistics on the states, the 4 states. We're going to do Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Kano. So these 4 main states in Nigeria. Which one of them and how are they diversified in talent? So which one's the most diversified in talent? Because people who are coming to look to hire people, they want to see which state is more diversified. So which one has plumbers, software engineers, hair braiders, fashion designers, carpenters, or whatnot. And so that's the data science. That's where you guys are going to understand how data science works, because we're going to use a formula for doing this. And I'm going to explain that. And then here I was thinking, this is where you would have the Lagos, the Abuja, so this will not be here. Let's assume that's not here. So here you will have the states, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Kano, they will all be here. And if you want to add more states, you can. When you understand how to do this, of course, then you can add. And then finally, at the bottom here, I was thinking that we could have what we call profile cards. Okay, profile cards means like the people, the profiles of professionals that are very popular. Maybe Yetunde is more viewed than Sarah or whatnot, or whoever, but Yetunde is more viewed as a software developer in this, like this program, this software. People go and check Yetunde a lot because, well, maybe he does his job better or whatnot. So we are gonna put like 3 profile cards that always trending. It's like what we call trending. They always trend, the people that are the most popular. Obviously, they need to go into seeing everybody else. It's not just 3 people, but we need to have like a sort of statistics as well down there. Who's trending the most? So then we have, once they click Lagos, for example, this page will change and go into Lagos, where we see all of the profiles of the top trend, maybe top 5, because we can't display everybody. If you have like a huge database, you can't show everybody, except you have like next page, and you have a search. Let's assume we're just showing the top 15 candidates in each state. So Lagos, they wouldn't access directly. They have to sign up or log in. If they click Lagos, they need to be logged in, or they have to have signed up. The same thing for Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Kano. Now that you understood how this is going to look like, sort of, this is where we go and design it. So let's get back to this program. Now, again, this is finished, like I told you before. What I want you to do is change the name of this program. Click at the top left, click on Edit Project Details, give it a different name. So we're going to call this one Naija Pro Pulse LinkedIn version. You can call it whatever you want, but that's what I'm calling mine. And when you're done with that, you can add a little description, what this is, just click on save so that we don't have the name to be odd. The next thing you want is click here. You will see on the file tree, the main Java, so click there. You're gonna see like a bunch of codes in here. We don't need all these codes, by the way, okay? The only reason it's here is because sometimes Replit wants to test and make sure, the agent, the AI, wants to make sure that you can actually see the output. So if you go to your plus sign here on Replit, you go search for VNC. Remember I said that it should be displayed on VNC. If you click VNC, then you should be able to see an output. So let's go back to console. I'm gonna come back to VNC. Let's open console. Click the plus sign again. Go to console. See if the console is running. And if it is, you can close it and run it again. And then come back to your VNC and see if it's connected. So right now it says that no VNC port is running. If you have this type of an error, like message where it says no VNC is running, they can't see anything, what you have to do is come back to the agent and say, run this program to show on VNC. This is step number one, what you will do, okay? You need to talk to the agent on the side. If you see this kind of thing on your screen, even after the agent has finished working. So this is one thing you have to do. Now, going back, I'm not going to delete all these programs yet. I want you to see something first, then I'll delete this code. You don't need all these codes because you're going to start from scratch. So I'm just saying we're keeping it right now just so that we can see this VNC coming on. So right now it's trying to come on. Let's see, this is how you know if your program is ready to go and you can start coding. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait until you prepare the platform, then you can start to code. So right now it's installing. As you guys can see, it has to install. That's the thing about the agent. You need to be patient because it's like a baby and it doesn't know anything. So you have to kind of feed it information to get your program ready. Now, while this is doing its work, let's get back into a website called Gemini, or Gemini, which you guys know. And why are we in Gemini? Because we want to start designing our home screen so that once the program is ready to kind of like see on VNC, then we can start coding it and we can put our home screen and we can see our home screen without any problems. Okay, so what we'll do is go back to Gemini. Now, on Gemini, this is what you do. Create. So you have to be very specific here. This is AI prompt engineering. Remember what I said that we want to design, like how it's going to look like? That's kind of what I'm going to say here. So I'm going to say create a viral, captivating. I like using these words because they just give more emphasis to things that I want to do. So I'm going to say home screen for a program, or let's say for a software app called, give your software app the name, Naija Pro Pulse. You can change the name, by the way, but stick to the same idea. That will have a banner. Well, you can say Nigerian themed, okay? Nigerian themed banner, picture at the start, or at the top. Let's see, at the top section of this home screen. And then the next thing, just check all the spellings and all that stuff later on. And then the next thing is you have the banner at the top. What else did we say? So the banner is going to be here. Then I said, I want to have a section where I can put graph, okay? And then a section, a blank section underneath. Oh, and by the way, you have to explain what this Naija Pro Pulse is for the AI to know the theme. Just tell it Naija Pro Pulse, it's going to assume so many things. So when I finish this, I'm going to correct that. So blank section underneath the banner picture that will be enough space to show a graph, right? That's the data stats. Let's say data stats. And so underneath that, what else do we need? So we need a graph section, then we have a menu option. Okay, so menu option, let's get back. Then you say underneath the blank section for the graph. or you can say the empty section, also use that word. So empty section for the graph, let's use that for the graph. There should be a fancy, so I'm gonna use those kind of words. You gotta be very good with your wording. Nigerian themed menu option for menu options. I would say menu options section, and then I would say showing 4 menu options. This is kind of how I want to explain it, which are, you have to be specific, which are Lagos, Abuja. You can go in an alphabetical order, whatever order you want to go. You can tell it to do that. I'm actually going to do that. And then you have Port Harcourt. And then you have Kano. And then here you can say go in an ascending order and write, rename these cities to be catchy and based on the theme. So the theme of this app, right? Because we're saying that we're creating it for an app. So based on the theme of this app as above. So what else do we need? So we've put that section. You realize that I'm here, I'm on the side. So I need another empty section where we're going to have like space for profile cards. And that's going to show the profile cards, which we're going to make avatar for the trending kind of people that people usually visit. So underneath, you can put a comma and continue. It's a very long, like non-punctuated version, but that's fine. Just keep describing it. Underneath the section, the menu option section, insert a blank space that would fit. Okay, this is very important now. You need to say it would fit what kind of cards, like how would they look like? So I want to show you an example of sizes. Basically, if we want to do the profile cards, we have 128 pixels by 128 pixels. Let me see if I can show you that real quick. Let's see if Gemini can. I'm opening a separate Gemini, okay? My Gemini is still here, by the way. I'm opening another one, and I want to show, so I'd be like, display the different pictures of these sizes, okay? I think the sizes I want to pick is like 128 pixels by 128 pixels, which is like a square size, but you're going to see what I mean. We also have 256 pixels by, or you know what? There's even an easier thing. Just say, give me the resolution size. This is even easier. Just say this. This is what you should say. Give me the resolution size for a profile card for professionals on a job hunting, or you can say whatever, hunting search website, web app. Okay, something like that. And then when you send it to Gemini, it's going to tell you what kind of sizing you should go with. So you see it's giving you some sizes here. This is pretty big. This one's going to be, this is like a full profile card, okay? Like you want to have a full one. If you don't know how that looks like, just ask it to give you a picture like that. 800 by 500. I'm not going to go with that. I think what I'll go with is this one. This is a good size because it will come like a square 1-to-1 aspect ratio. Or you can go with the 9:16. What about, you can also say a size for a 9:16. And I'm going to show you how it's going to look like a profile card. So for example, this one. So if you want to go like vertical version. So if you want to do 9:16, okay, these are big sizes. This is very big, very big. So let's say a medium size. What about a medium size on to fit on a home screen? Okay, so I'm just trying to get the right size because I want to know what size I'm going to put here in my prompt. I don't know yet, so we need to get the right size. This is what it's suggesting for me, 640 pixels. Okay, these are all big sizes, but I think I like this one, 320 by 568. You can go a smaller size if you prefer, and it will also do that for you. So if you say smaller, just change your prompt to smaller size, then it will give you the smaller size options, okay? So for example, 120 by 120, this is perfect. This is good. Even this one is really good. So I think I got a size. So would fit, you can say insert a blank space that would fit 240 by 240 pixels profile cards for, you guys can still hear me, by the way, right? Because I'm not back in the classroom. Can you all hear me? Can you still hear me okay?
Yes, you
Yes,
can.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to say profile cards for, that will fit profile cards for professionals, professionals looking for jobs. Yeah, like on the job hunting website, you got to reemphasize web app or software app, or you can just say app in general. Okay, so how many? You can also say it will fit 3 because you have to specify how many. So I would say 3 240 by 240 pixel profile cards, right? Like that. And you can add a footer at the very end if you want. Add a footer section at the very bottom of the app, right? You can also do that if you want at the very bottom. And then later on, but I would suggest think about everything you want in the beginning, because later on you would have to redesign all over again if you want to add anything, or you can add a picture on top. Anyways, going back to the beginning, before we send this to the app, I need to give it some information of what Naija Pro Pulse is. And you can just say it's a job hunting. So I'll go to the beginning, which is a job. You can say, I'll say professional job hunting app. You can say software app, web app. I would say let's go for software web app. And that way we can get different ones that will have a Nigerian themed banner picture. Okay, so at this point, I think I've given it some information. You can now send it, but before you send it, make sure on Flash. Make sure you're on thinking level, but go for extended, and then send it over and see what the AI is going to do. Now, there's other alternative options of what kind of, like, where you can go and refine your picture, and I'm going to show you that. While this is working, we're still going to go back to Replit and check what we've done, but at the same time, let's see. Oh, it's giving me a plan. So let's go for, I think I forgot to say picture, because look at what it's doing. It's giving me the plan of how everything is going to look like. So let's get back to the prompt and say create a viral. I think I forgot to mention picture, home screen, picture. Yes. With an aspect ratio, I forgot that at the beginning, of 16:9, resolution size of 1,376 by 768 pixels. That's also something you should say. Okay, I forgot to mention that, and it was giving me all that stuff at the bottom. So now I'm going to update my prompt, send it again. So let's see now. And now it's saying creating your image. So when it doesn't see picture, like I said, the AI is very, very peculiar. You have to be very specific of what you're saying and how, what you want. So I'm going to wait. Let's see what the picture we get. And then I'll show you an alternative of where you can also go and get other type of images or versions to make it look really good. But we're going to go also back to our program and see how that's doing. Okay, so it's giving me this, and it's okay, but I feel like it's cartooning, and that's something I don't want. I also don't want this part to be here. I just want a space, but I don't want it to necessarily have anything on the top here. So you can definitely tell it to get rid of that. And then here, I would just say leave it as a space. So essentially, let me just show you one process before we go into the next. Okay, essentially, if you want to follow up with what you've gotten, you're going to say remove. For example, remove the Nigeria and put it in quotation mark, Pro Pulse. What do you call that? Let's write it exactly how it is. Job trends. And then close your quotation mark, picture, space, picture on the photo above, or you can say in the photo above because it's in, not on. So in the photo above. So you can remove that, take that out. Also, you can say remove this. And by the way, I forgot to mention that we didn't have this about us and all that stuff, but you can change the way your stuff is. If you want to have about us and you want to have perhaps something like contact us or profile information, any of those menu options, you can put it at the top as well. So I'm going to show you that. But for now, I'm going to take this out and just leave the spaces. I just want to show you that. And also, I'm going to say, and also remove the featured professionals looking, I'm going to say section, not section, but just like the picture cards in the picture above. Then I'll be like, do not change anything else. Okay, send it. Now, this is a follow-up, but this is not the final picture that I want. I'm just showing you that you can make modifications to whatever you want. You can even put logos and stuff, and I don't particularly like this picture, but I just want to show you how you can follow up with your AI, obviously, to get you the right photo you're looking for. So right now, it's still working on that for me. And you can also add and say, okay, I want you to put these menu options underneath this section. So that's another thing you can do. For now, let's see what it's doing here, what it will do for me. And then while this is working, I think I'm going to go back and check my Replit. Still working to create my new image. That means based on my changes. I think it's done, actually. Perfect. You see? So I don't have those, but I do have the empty sections. And that's good because I want to put a graph here. We're going to do that with code. I also want to be able to put at the bottom here, I want to have those profile cards, which we'll do with code. Now, anything else you want to make changes to, you just have to follow it up with instructions. However, there's also something I want to do, which is I want to go and show you how we can get other versions of how this could look like before you decide. And I'm going to go and do that on Google Flow. In the meantime, let's see what this has done for me. So let's go on to VNC. This is my code, by the way. This is the code that we have, okay? So I'm talking about Replit. I'm still going to come back here, by the way, and this is my new photo one example. I still personally would not like to have these options down here, so you can always change that. But before we go into like making other versions, I'm coming back into Replit, and I'm kind of stopping these runs. If you see on console, I'm clicking all the stops. I'm clearing my past run. Stop everything, clear past run it again, and just see if everything is fine and it's still trying to capture on. Can you guys hear me, by the way? I feel like sometimes I'm going off. You can still hear me, right? Okay, great. All right, so
Yeah.
while it's running, so it's doing some, it's still working and still running. It's fine. I can take out all the code. Now, I just want to show you because of the timing. So I'm going to take out everything. You got to delete everything, even if it's still running, because mine is still running. So delete everything, but be careful to not delete two things, okay, in your code. Delete everything, because we're going to code from scratch. One thing you're not going to delete is the main class. Keep the class the way it is. You see what I just did? I deleted everything in the class. The other thing you're not going to delete is your main method. You need to have this because that's what runs the code. So this, everything else can go. The other thing you need to get rid of that we don't need, because these are called libraries, okay, is you need to get rid of the swing. We need it for graphics. We don't need this one particularly, even though I think this is more for the font, but you can actually, you know, get rid of that because I don't think we're going to use a particular font. You can also get rid of anything that you see that's called this. Basically, what you should have in your program are 4 libraries. That's it. Swing, the abstract window toolkit called AWT, the file, because you guys are going to learn how to do file management, how to send things to a text file. We will use a text file. Then the SQL, which is your database, your backend, because we're going to use that for saving usernames and all that stuff, username, password for login, sign up. And then we need other tables. So for now, you just have to have a blank looking kind of file, just like this one. That's what you should have. Now let's get back into the picture. So now I have a clean interface. Now make sure yours, if mine is still running, I think I know why. It's because I have to upgrade my, I have to add some usage credits, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, but that's personally for me. For you, if you're a free member, it should be fine. So that's why it's still loading for me. That's the only reason. But this is what yours should look like, clean, looking this way. Now, let's get back into the picture. Let's go to another website before we start coding this photo. Finally, you need to decide and make sure you have a template before you proceed to designing anything. So that's what the AI does. Go to Google Flow. Google Flow, it's really good for images. Claude Code and all the other ones are good when it comes into like vibe coding, like when you finish this whole thing and now you want to add some features to it and you're not sure what you can add, then you can vibe code on Replit. or you can take your code and just vibe code it a little bit on Claude Code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on new project on Google Flow. Okay, that's what you do. So Google Flow has some new features. If you click agent, for example, you can click here and there's something called Omni Flash, which is good for making animated videos. We're going to come into that. We're going to need animation, but for now, we're going to just go back into the usual non-agent stuff and just do the usual thing where we generate pictures. So what I'll do is copy my prompt. You don't need to reprompt this again. Just copy what you have here. Copy the prompt, paste it over here. Now, you may need to add some things. Maybe you want a section where you have like menu options because we didn't talk about that. So you can say here we'll have a banner. So maybe before the banner, we can say a Nigerian themed menu options section, which would have, right? This was something that I didn't say before, about us. What else do we need to have? You have to think about what you need to have. So maybe a contact us, and then maybe, I think about us, contact us, maybe view recommendations. I can't really think of many things right now, but I'll just say about us, contact us, and a banner picture underneath. Okay, so you need to continue from here. Underneath the menu options, the first menu options. Okay, so like I said, you can do that if you want to make modifications, which would be, I would just continue saying, which would be at the top of the section of the home screen. So once you're done, I'm just going to send it right now so you can see the difference. You will do 16 by 9, go to ×2 to have different variations. Then make sure you're on Nano Banana Pro. And also you can say a real, okay, real, because you want like humans if you don't want cartoon. If you want cartoon, you can go for 3D CGI, which is really good when it comes to like animated, not cartoony, but animated. So now once you're done, send it over and then wait for it to make the pictures for you. Now you need to keep playing around with this until you get the interface that you like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can actually display this on your code, because that's the first thing we're going to do. So that's what we're going to do now, once we get some sort of picture that we can work with. So one thing I also wanted you to notice was we have a space where we need to put a graph. In the beginning, we probably are going to put like a blank graph. Okay, it's giving me some options. This looks more real. This looks good. I can choose, you see how this is way better. However, it's fine if you're kind of wondering, but maybe I don't want this here. I just want something here. It's okay because you can actually put pictures that fit here in general. But if you still want to edit this, remember you can go back to the Gemini, because Gemini is good. Even here, you can say get rid of this section and get rid of this section down here. So I'm going to leave you to do that because I showed you on Gemini how to do it. So you have to choose which one you like. You can add more versions. I've gotten 2 sections right here. You can add more sections if you want and just put in your stuff. So I think for me personally, I'm going to go with this one and I'm going to modify it later on. So you're going to see it in the next class. So I'll download this picture. Now come back to your code. The first thing you'll do is you'll start by creating a function. So let's create a function called public void display home. Okay, or we call it a method. So I created a method, and remember that I downloaded my picture. So let me show you what I have. I've just downloaded this picture. Okay, I can still get more versions, but I'm going to work with this. Look at what I have here. I have the about us, contact us. If I want to add more stuff, I can do that later on. And then here, I'm going to take this one out. It's going to be blank. And here, I'm going to leave it as a section where I will have profile cards. Okay, that will change. You'll see how it is. We can also make this animated if we want, but let's say from the beginning, it's going to be static, non-animated. Okay, next class, I'll show you how we can animate once we have like a final picture. So you guys have to work on your picture. You also notice that I have like very fancy names. I have Lagos Launchpad, Abuja Apex, Port Harcourt Pipeline, and then we have Kano Connect, right? So these are also important. Now going back to the coding part where we are, which is right here, I said create a method. This is called a method. This method is void. It's not returning anything. Now in this method, we're going to create a JFrame. What I would advise you to do is start creating your JFrames here as a static JFrame. Oh, sorry about that. This is it. So let's call this one screen 1. Okay, so what does static mean? It means that I can use this frame anywhere I want. So I have declared my frame and I called it screen 1. That's the one that's going to show my background picture. So screen 1 is my frame. And then here I'm going to say screen 1 equals to JFrame, new JFrame. Now you can give your JFrame a name. So I'm going to call it, let's say it's called Homescreen. Okay, and then we'll put a semicolon. So the next thing you want to do is you want to set up your frame and just make sure it doesn't have any sort of like layout. The reason we're going to say screen1.set layout and we're going to make the layout null is because this frame is not going to have any type of like layout. Normally you would have a layout like a card layout, and I'll explain what a card is. A card layout is something where like you have a pack of cards on the table, like cards, the one you play, and you're putting them on the table. They're all in one place, right? You've put cards on the table. You can take one card and then you can put it back. Take another card and put it back. That's the same thing how a card layout works. If you have a background picture, your main screen, that's like what we have right now, right? Which is the screen, this one. From this screen, you notice that we can go to other screens. If we click About Us, we go to About Us. If we click Contact Us, we go to Contact Us. If we click Lagos, we go to the sign up / login screen where they either have to sign up or log in, and so on. So these screens are opening from the principal screen, and that's called the card layout. So there's different type of layouts, but for us, we're going to put null. Null means that you're going to set the widgets yourself. That means you're going to put your text boxes, your buttons, all that. You're going to control where you want them to go. You're going to arrange things yourself. Now, the next thing we want to do is to set the size. There's many ways you can set your size, okay? If you want to set bounds, and set bounds is something else, but let me put the size for now. Oh, and by the way, I didn't show you one important thing. When you want to set your size, how do you know what is the right size? Okay, if you're going to do this app, and you want it to be suitable for any kind of device, then obviously when you publish it, the agent, what it does is that it repolishes your app and makes it visible and viewable on different type of screens. However, if you want to go horizontal, that is 16:9 orientation, then you will need either this kind of sizing or you need like 1082 by or 1900 and something by 1000 something. But on Replit, this sizing is the most ideal one. Now, the picture that I downloaded, if you take your mouse over it, do you notice the size is 1376 by 768 pixels? Well, that's because that's the ideal size that is normally the AI normally downloads. So we call that the resolution size, right? So the resolution size of the picture is 1376 by 768 pixels. Okay, that's the resolution size. Next thing you want to do is to start putting up your things, that what you want on this screen. So for now, this is all. Then we're going to create a J panel. J panel is very important because it's like when you have a picture frame, you have your frame, then you have another thing inside of your picture frame. Like if you go buy a picture frame, right? You have the frame itself, then you have that board that's always inside where you put the picture on the board and it goes in the frame. It's exactly what happens here. Screen 1 is that screen, like the frame, and then the board that you have inside is your J panel. You can do J panel or you can do container. So you have to create an object. And I forgot to tell you that what I was doing here when I wrote this in the beginning was I was declaring an object of the JFrame class because Java is about classes and objects. So I declared an object. What did I call my object? Screen 1. This is called declaration. So I think I have to put these names for you to know. Declaration of an object of the JFrame class. Even as I typed, you notice that the AI is also suggesting, so that's the AI suggestion. And I called my object screen, you can put it in parentheses, it's called screen 1. Now here, I'm also gonna initialize, declare and initialize at the same time. I'm gonna call this one panel 1 equals to new J panel. and put your semicolon. So what's the panel for? Well, the panel is going to be the one where we put the image, the background picture on, which remember that the panel goes on the J-frame, which is the structure. And then anything else you want to put, the text boxes, the buttons, all that stuff would go on the background picture, which is on the panel. So the next thing you want to do is to also set your panel to like set the layout. So the layout of your panel will also be null. Same thing like the other one. And be careful with the name because you have to make sure it matches. If you see a red line, it means you have an error. You have to be careful there. So now we're going to set the size. Also, I'm going to do this real quick. So the size should be the same size that you have of your frame because you want the images to match, right? So this is also important. Then you want to, if you don't need to set any background color or anything like that, you just need an image icon that's going to show your picture. And what is the picture? Well, the picture is going to be this one, assuming this is my picture. So I'm going to rename it, call it home. If you don't know how to rename it here, it's fine. You can do it on Replit. But for now, these are the main setups you should start with. So you notice that I did the screen, the J-frame, then I did the panel. Now I'm going to show my picture and add it to the J panel, then add the J panel to the frame, and then set everything visible to true. So what I'll do is come back here, and I'll come back onto file tree right here. Now click your download option. This is the picture that I downloaded from Gemini. I haven't modified it or anything. I haven't taken my time on it. I'm just doing this to show you, but you have to take your time on it. If you don't see the picture and it says failed to load, don't use it. Delete it. Don't use it because it means it can't be seen. Just go back to your, what do you call it, to your file, like on your computer, and just drag and drop it, which is the easiest way, which is right here now. See, you can see it. Or you can go and create a new folder. Okay, or you can upload a folder. Let me show you how to do that. If you have a Windows on your computer, if you go to the folder option, just go create a new folder. There's many ways how to do that. Put folder and then just put your images in there. So if you say images, for example, this is a folder, and then you drag your picture and drop it in there, whatever, you know, move your picture in your computer and put it inside the folder. You notice that my folder now has this picture, right? So let's go for extra large. This picture is here. Now, if I come back here, another way I can upload pictures is I can click on this and say upload folder, and I can get my folder uploaded by going to downloads and selecting the folder and then saying upload, and it will say, do you want to upload your folder? Yes. And then you can why it's saying overwriting is because I already have something called images in there. So it's just now giving me my folder with my image. That's why it says overwrite, because you already have a name called images, which is the same name as your folder. So it has to overwrite. Okay, but essentially, if you name it something else, it's fine. So this is another way you can get your picture in here. Okay, so there are many ways. For me personally, I like to put them in folders. I also like to put them sometimes outside. So it really depends on what you want. You can just put it outside as well. It's fine, anywhere you want, and still here. Okay, let's get back to the code. Now, the code part is we have our picture that we want to show, which is the home.jpg. Make sure it's showing. Then going back to your code, you're going to start by creating something called an image icon object to show your image. I'm going to call this one image1 equals to new, and then image icon. This is how we create an object of classes. These things are all called classes, classes, classes. This is all class, class, class. Anything in blue is class, except the static and the public. Those are keywords. Now here, you're going to put the name of your picture that you want to show. And so my picture is called home.jpg, right? That's the name of my photo. Put a semicolon. The next thing you want to do is create a JLabel. It's important you create a JLabel object, by the way, because, okay, let's explain how this works again. So let me finish creating the object again of the JLabel class. So we're going to call this one label1. You can call it whatever you want to call it. So JLabel. And then you have to specify your argument. What do you want to use this label for? Okay, so it's like a placeholder. Okay, let's explain the picture frame again. Picture it in your head. You are looking at a picture frame, a new one. You have the frame, like I said, which is your J frame in this case, but the frame of the picture we're saying. Then you usually have that thing that's the support inside of your picture frame. And in this case, it is your panel, panel 1. Okay, picture that. So you have your J frame, which is the frame. Then you have your panel 1, which is that support in the frame. Then you have the picture, the actual picture that you want to put in your picture frame. And that is your J label. Now, your image icon, what it does is like a placeholder. It's like when you look at your picture frame, the one that you buy, in that like picture holder, the white one that goes on the frame, there's like usually a name that says insert your image here, like some sort of like test picture that's there. That's what we call the placeholder. And that's why you have to have your J label to act as the placeholder where your picture goes on. Okay, so if you're wondering, this is just important. You have to do both of them at the same time. You can't just put only image and it will show. You have to have a label that's the placeholder. Then it goes on that board, which is on the frame, and then it shows. So that's really what happens. The next thing you want to do is you can say label1.setBounds. Now you can do the bounds thing, and if you do set bounds, really what happens is that you're specifying where do you want to put your picture. So I'll explain what that means. You can do this, or you can decide to do set size. Any one is fine. However, be careful, because here, when you say 0, 0, you're saying point of origin, like in math. Like you have to go back to math now. In the graph, when you have a graph, you have your x-axis on your left, on your right. You have your y-axis at the top and at the bottom, right? So x is more positive on the right, and it's negative on the left. Y is positive at the top, and it's negative at the bottom. But then you have the point of origin in the center, 0, 0. So when you say 0, 0, it doesn't mean that your picture is going to go in the center. It's just meaning that you're saying from the center, put your background picture to show. That's what's happening. So you have to, if you do set bounds instead of set size, then you're just specifying your X and your Y coordinates, and then you're specifying your length, your width and height. That's really what it means. So I'm going to explain it here. So when you use set bounds instead of set size, you can use set size if you prefer. I personally just prefer to go with set size, but you can, particularly for this. Oh, I forgot to mention, you have your X coordinates, your Y coordinate, and then you have the width and you have the height. Okay, this is just how it works. So where are you positioning what you want to position? If you put the X and the Y, it affects the positioning that goes on the screen. So we're putting the bounds here. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So the next thing is we're going to start adding. So we'll add the label 1 to panel 1. So this is how you do it. Panel 1.add label 1. This is important. You have to add this label to your panel, which is like that support. And then you have to add your panel to your J-frame, and then you have to show your screen. So the next thing you do is add your panel to your J-frame. And you notice that I'm using screen1.add panel 1. And then finally, you're going to set your screen visible to true. And if you don't want to make the screen resizable, as in you want to say, actually, screen1.resizable, false, false. I believe it's false, false on, or maybe lowercase f's letters. So if you decide to go resizable, I think it might be a different spelling. I have to check. Is it scheme? Give me one moment. Let me see. Is it resizable? Because it's going with either American or British spelling. So let me see. Give me one moment. Let me see what it could be. Oh, right. Okay, my bad. I made a mistake here. It's actually like that, but you have to do set resizable. Here, false. So what this means is that you don't want, if you have a red line, that means an error, you have to fix it. That's why I was looking to fix it. If you say resizable, it means that set resizable to false. It means that you don't want anyone to be able to resize the screen. You want the screen to stay in its size, like what you set the size, which is 1,376. You notice we've been saying that for all of them. We've kept the size consistent, and we're going to keep it consistent for all the screen sizes. So that's the ideal monitor size that would show on your Replit and would also show on any monitor that you wanted to show, like the horizontal sort of display. And that's it. That's pretty much it. That's all you have to do for the first part. This will show your home screen, which is this one. But before we are able to finalize this and then test it out next time, is we have to call this method. So this method can only work if you call it. So how do we call it? Well, this method is a non-static method. You didn't say public static, okay? This is different. If you say public static, then if you want this program to run, to show your picture, like for you to run and see the picture, then you just have to call it with its name, display home. That's it. You call the method with its name, display home. And it's going to work that way because you said static. But if you say public void, static means that you can access it anywhere, just like I told you in the beginning for this one. But if you just said void, then it means that you have to create an object of this class to be able to call it. Okay, so object meaning that the name of our class is called main, right? So let's go back to the top or anywhere here. So if we want to create an object of this class, we can say main object 1 equals to new main, right? This is how we create an object of the class. Why? Because the name of our class is called main. So you have to create an object of it for you to be able to use anything in the class, because you realize that this whole thing is inside the class. And you notice that I'm getting an error now because this is not static. You see, it says it's a non-static because I have removed the keyword that was saying static. So I have created an object. And if I want to make this work now, I'd have to put that name of my object here and it will work fine, like this. See? So object 1. So the name of my object will be object 1. And one more thing, to make it accessible, you make the object static. And so now it should be fine and you can use it this way. So it's a procedure. Java is a procedural language. You can make it easy for yourself and just say, you know what, it's easier if I just call this one static. And if I put the keyword here, then I don't need to do this whole object thing. And it's fine, it will still work in the same way. Okay, so far, were we able to capture just the first part of showing this picture? But remember, we still need to modify this picture much more. But the main idea is that make sure you have menu options at the top here. Okay, you should have how many you want. It's fine. The main thing I'm going to show you is how to make those options clickable, functional, to open up screens, and what we're going to put in them. If you put about us, contact us, about us is just text, more text information when you open up a screen. Contact us is more going to be like a contact us form that will store information in the database. Whenever they send a message, it will go into the database. So you can put like 4 options here, wherever you want your menu. Do you want the menu to be at the top? Do you want it to be by the left, by the right? You have to just determine that with the AI. And then you can change the people, the realness. You can change the style of your writing, of your Naija Pro Pulse. You can put a logo. There are many things you could do, but make sure you have your menu options, your banner. You have a space where we're going to put the graph, because that's what I'm going to do. And then we have a space here where we're going to put the profile cards, because that loads anytime the screen loads. Those will always load. We're going to show even if we're 0, 0 in the beginning, but as we start putting the profiles, they start clicking, then that would always be going like real time. Okay, so far, do you guys have any questions? Because I think we're going to have to wrap up, but I'm going to come back to the classroom. Were you guys able to follow most up until now? Yeah, you guys are muted. Do you have any questions? No?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Samuel. Before we wrap up, we're going to do like a 2-3 minute session and then we'll wrap up. Go ahead, Samuel, and I'll tell you guys what's the next stage. I'm listening to you. Samuel, do you have a question? I think he just logged out, but he might be logging back in. Do you guys, anybody else wasn't clear about anything so far? We're going to be testing this by next class, by the way, to show the output. And then if you have any errors or problems, then I can address. Samuel, do you have a question? You raise your hand? No? Okay, well, I don't want to keep you guys. Okay, go. I think Samuel's back now. He's back. Samuel, go ahead. You have a question?
No, I don't.
What's going on with him? Yeah. Okay. All right. So guys, we're not going to keep you. Just keep track and remember, set up your program up until here. Assignment will be published, obviously, on the Google Classroom. Make sure you're punctual again. And if you have any questions, you can send it on Google Classroom. You guys now have access to it. Do you all have access to it? If not, I can ask the admin to send you the link one more time. Okay, great. I'll see you guys. Take care and have a good night. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.